Hey, how are you? Well, it turns out that the bees came last night, and that was a little bit of a surprise. I always imagined that I would be picking them up from the post office and putting them in the hive, and to be honest with you, that thought was a little bit scary. But luckily my friend Mike came over with his friend who's a professional beekeeper, and she helped me put the bees in the hive and put the queen in the hive and just go over a whole lot about beekeeping. So that was great. So I wanted to answer a couple of questions, and also the main comment was from Nick and a few other people to be sure and put a landing pad on the hive. The bees need that landing pad apparently to become oriented with I guess taking off and landing. So anyway, so I did that right before the bees came. Now the first question was, what did I paint the hive with? And I used an exterior latex primer, and then I used an exterior latex gloss paint. It's the same paint that I use on the barn, and I had it around, so that's what I used, and it's a good paint. Another question is, do you need a queen to get the whole thing started? And the way I did this is I bought a box of bees, and the bees come in a box. It's about $125, and they come with the queen. The queen is in what's referred to as a queen cage, and it sort of resembles a matchbox, and in there is the queen separated from the hive by a piece of candy and a cork. You remove the cork, the bees eat through the candy, and the queen gets into the hive. Now, if I had done this by myself, I would have done it wrong because I would have removed the cork. But the beekeeper last night said, let the bees become acclimated to that queen because they're not used to her yet, and they may just kill her. So I think maybe Wednesday or Thursday, I'll remove the cork, and then the bees can eat through the candy and get the whole thing going. Why am I interested in beekeeping? Well, about 10 years ago, I started to work with encaustic and make my own encaustic paint. And the main ingredient in encaustic paint is beeswax. And so from there, I became interested in bees. I'm interested in the whole phenomenon of the colony collapse disorder. You probably are aware that we depend heavily on bees for all of the food that is produced. So just all around, it's very interesting. What and why do you feed the bees? Well, that was news to me. I didn't know anything about feeding bees. Apparently, you have to feed the bees in the beginning of the season, and that will help them establish their colony. And there's also not enough nectar out in the wild yet. So you feed the bees a mixture of water and sugar. And I'll make a mixture, and then we'll go out and feed the bees and take a quick look in the hive. Okay, well, I'm back. It was a few hours. I had gone out there earlier, and it was pretty sunny, and the bees seemed real active, so I figured I'll wait until the end of the day to take a look at the hive. So to make this sugar syrup, this is what I was taught by the beekeeper. It's basically, it's not by weight, it's just one container of sugar, and then fill the same container up with water, and that is that's the recipe. This is going to take a few hours to dissolve, but I made some of the syrup last night, so I'm going to suit up and go check on the hive. All right, let's take a look in this window first. Oh, that fell down. I'll bring the camera over here. Okay, so here's the hive. They're all clustered in over here, and this is where the feed is. And I don't know if there's any in there. I'll have to open that up. So I guess I'll open up the lid and see what's going on. Now I do have a hinge that I'm going to attach to the roof. I'll show you in a minute, but I haven't attached it yet. And I want to be careful when I open this up, not to disturb it too much. You can see that they've been eating the food. It's not all gone, but a good amount is gone, so that's good. I'll bring the camera over and show you where the queen is. Now this is the queen cage that I talked about. It's just a little wooden box, and there's the cork. Can you see it? It's kind of hard to see, but there's the cork, and eventually I'll remove that, maybe tomorrow. The feeders look like they're about halfway empty, so I'm going to take them out and fill them up, and I'll show you how that works. And these are just little push pin holes, and the syrup, once it drips out a little bit, then it stops and atmospheric pressure holds it in, and then the bees suck it out. It's pretty amazing. You can see how they're sticking their tongue, I guess it is, right through that hole, and that's how they would drink it. So now the idea is that the lid will go back over the feeder, and the bees will go in and out of the holes that are cut into the follower board down at the bottom here. Alright. These are the hinges I'll use to hinge the roof. I'm not going to do that now though. I'm going to probably do it in the morning. In the morning they seem to be just really mellow and they're all in the hive. Well, regardless if I get any honey or not, you know, I'm having a lot of fun. It's kind of like having a fish tank. I actually could look at it. I could sit there and look at it. It's almost like a waste of time. I got to stop looking at the beehive. Anyway, this is what the bees came in. This is the bee box. I hope you'll tune in Friday. I'll be working on a project for Mother's Day. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.